I tried to ignore the news. I tried to disconnect. But it's impossible. You can't turn him off. He won't power down. He's like Ultron, relentless, tireless, and somehow trending every single day. Every morning there's something new, something stranger, something louder. I finally gave up and made a list, just from the last 2 months, and honestly it reads like satire written by someone who's had too much caffeine and not enough therapy. He paved over the Rose Garden. He's building a golden ballroom in the White House. He's reportedly planning a UFC fight there too, because nothing says presidential like octagon brawls under the chandeliers. He cut off Kamala Harris's Secret Service protection, named himself the host of the Kennedy Center Honors, flew to Alaska to bend over backward for Putin, sent military tanks into Washington, D.C., and complained that the Smithsonian focuses too much on how bad slavery was. It's like living inside a reality show that forgot where the script ended and the delusion began. Trump came in thinking he was untouchable, a man above consequence, the star of every frame, the boss of every scene. Then Jimmy Kimmel showed up, armed not with policies or protests, but with jokes so sharp they could cut titanium. The late-night host didn't just roast Trump, he flambéed him. Each punchline landed with surgical precision, peeling away the bluster until the toughest guy in the room looked more like a balloon at a porcupine party. This isn't politics anymore, it's comedy carnage. Every line is a knockout. Every monologue leaves Trump wobbling like a boxer who forgot his guard. You thought you'd seen roasts before? You haven't. Not until Kimmel turned the former president into a walking, talking late-night punchline piñata. At one point, Kimmel joked that Trump had called India and Norway to ask them to nominate him for a Nobel Prize, a move so desperate it made high school election speeches look subtle. Then came the darker note, cutting funding for pediatric brain cancer research. You'd think, Kimmel said, that a man with the brain of a child would support research into pediatric brain development. The audience gasped, and then burst into laughter. That's Kimmel's power. He finds the absurdity, frames it with irony, and hits the truth like a dart through glass. Trump strutted onto the stage of American politics like a Vegas headliner expecting adoration. But what he got instead was a country slowly realizing that the emperor not only has no clothes, he's live-streaming the wardrobe malfunction. Kimmel didn't just joke about Trump, he deconstructed him. He turned the grandiose into the ridiculous, the boastful into the buffoonish, until what was once a figure of fear became a punchline. People laughed at over morning coffee when the president of Poland visited in the middle of what Kimmel dubbed Hurricane Epstein. The comic delivered another roundhouse. Republicans forced an early recess to avoid voting on releasing the Epstein files, he said. They kicked the can down the road, hoping maybe we'd be hit by a tidal wave or distracted by the next Trump tantrum. The audience howled because it wasn't just funny. It was painfully true. Trump's image has always been his weapon, showmanship, bravado, reality TV swagger. But Kimmel weaponized laughter, and that's far more dangerous. There's something magical about the way he handles Trump. He doesn't just throw jokes. He builds funhouse mirrors. He stretches Trump's ridiculousness until it's impossible not to see the parody. He shrinks his ego down to scale, flips the reflection, and hands it back wrapped in applause. The irony is that Trump thrives on attention. But when the spotlight turns comedic, it becomes his kryptonite. His entire brand depends on being larger than life, not the butt of the joke. And yet, in Kimmel's hands, that's exactly what he becomes. A walking contradiction, a man desperate to be respected, but addicted to the chaos that destroys respect, and the hits kept coming. Kimmel mocked the House Republicans who refused to release the Epstein files, noting the hypocrisy of people who think eliminating measles vaccines is responsible. But releasing names isn't. It's political stand-up, sure, but it's also commentary with bite. Kimmel's humor works because it's grounded in truth. He doesn't need to exaggerate. Reality's already done that for him. That's the cruel beauty of it all. Trump spends his life projecting invincibility, but a perfectly timed punchline can shatter that image faster than a dropped iPhone screen. Kimmel knows the secret. Trump's greatest weakness isn't scandal or policy, it's his ego. It's thinner than tissue paper in a rainstorm. And every time someone laughs at him, a crack forms in that golden armor he tries so hard to polish. There was even that infamous White House meeting, the one that sounded more like a cult ceremony than a political gathering. "Mr. President," one aide gushed, "thank you for the opportunity to work for you." Another thanked him for saving college football. Someone else compared seeing Trump walk across the lawn to a surge of masculine energy. One even admitted, "When I see you striding confidently, I get sexually aroused." Kimmel replayed it on air, deadpanning. "I think that's what they meant by stimulus package, and that's the brilliance." Kimmel doesn't have to yell, accuse, or insult. He lets Trump's own absurdity do the heavy lifting. The late-night host simply holds up the mirror, and America laughs. Because once you become a running gag, it's over. People might forgive corruption. They might overlook incompetence, but they never forget the punchline. Trump's life has always been a mix of showbiz and politics, part spectacle, part scandal, all ego. But the Kimmel era of comedy has turned that show into reruns. Every tantrum becomes an episode. Every post, every speech, every meltdown, another bit of content waiting for a late-night rewrite. And maybe that's fitting. Maybe after years of chaos, the best response isn't outrage, it's laughter. Because laughter cuts deeper than criticism. It drains power from pretense. It says, "We see through you and we're not scared anymore." Trump wanted to be the star of history. Instead, he's become the setup for its longest-running joke. And Jimmy Kimmel, the man with the microphone, is making sure we never miss the punchline.